Mr. High has not been happy these past few days. In his heart, he was always sad about the chicken coop being stolen by thieves and the chickens being stolen. Strangely enough, the cage was placed next to the room where he and his younger brother were sick and bedridden, yet the chicken is still gone. It passed away quietly as if nothing had happened, not a sound, no screams. Even the normally sensitive dog, Kai, didn't bark at all. The more Mr. High thought about it, the more angry he felt in his heart. Is it your destiny to build a house for the Luca Palace or something? But in recent years there has been no chicken to eat during the 3 days of Tet. It's been a long time since his two parents passed away, leaving his younger brother half dead, and he has never known the taste of meat. At that time, the fox came in and ate all the chickens, leaving only a handful of red feathers, blood, scattered in the barn. A few hairs were streaked with blood, and the mischievous fox carried them to the floor of his and his younger brother's bed. Sometimes a thief sneaked into the house while he was out in the fields, stealing the chicken. The younger brother is so useless at night, he just rolled his eyes and grinned with a crooked mouth, but refused to speak. But if it could talk, maybe the foxes would be afraid of human voices and not dare to come close. Even so, it doesn't know how to walk. Sometimes when he heard someone's footsteps, his house was not robbed, but stealing in broad daylight. But you shouldn't blame him either. If you have any blame Mr. Green. Why did you carelessly give birth to an imperfect creature? If it is considered an animal with limbs, it is also redundant, since it cannot use its limbs for eating or personal activities. Doctors from Western schools and the general's friends never talked about his illness. What did he say something about brain degeneration or paralysis? That Mr. High didn't know. He was born as a tenant farmer. Parents and grandparents are the same, so how can we have the words to understand the complex matters of those above and those before us? One day, there was a death anniversary next door, and Mr. High was invited over to eat a bowl of rice on a taboo day. That day he drank too much and got drunk. As soon as he got home, he immediately fell into bed and went to sleep. The bed is 6 feet wide, always enough room for both brothers. In the middle of the night, he suddenly woke up when he felt a tickle on his cheek. Something soft like wet silk kept caressing his face. In a drunken stupor, Mr. High thought the crazy dog Kai jumped on the bed and licked his face. But when he opened his eyes and looked carefully, he noticed that the same red silk strip that often haunted him every night was dancing and winding. The red silk strip with 3 fingers kept fluttering, as if playing, joking with a drunk person's face. Mr. High wanted to reach out and grab the silk strip, but his hand couldn't do as he wanted. The hand of a drunk person never obeys the master's will, even while just waking up from sleep. The sound made the silk strip suddenly disappear as if someone pulled it into a dark place, very close. It seemed like it was right next to where he was lying. Where the little boy was silently looking at him. Mr. High looked at it, like, I don't understand. That guy, why isn't he sleeping at this hour? Just opening his eyes and glaring at him like that. Why are his eyes so green? No, not blue. There is also the flickering fire of 2 red marbles. Looking at it, Mr. High suddenly panicked and shouted, "What are you doing, baby, in the dead of night?" His shout must have been very loud. It made the boy startled with the sudden change in his face. Its eyes no longer sparkled with the original strange light. Its lips drooped down again, as had been the case for a long time. But the strange thing was that his face looked regretful, as if he had just missed out on a childhood hobby. It's not okay. There's something very different about this kid. It's like he comes from a dark place that people can't know. Mr. High thought so and stayed awake until the rooster crowed. Today, after plucking seedlings, Mr. High went straight to his brother's house in the next neighborhood. The 2 brothers are cousins, so they've been close since childhood and don't have to hide anything from each other. Mr. Tam, why am I so worried? The boy at home is changing more and doesn't know anything anymore. I don't know if I can afford it in the future. He said sadly to his brother. Old man Tam looked at his younger brother with sympathy and worry. He had heard more stories about his nephew than his brother, but he didn't know how to start the story smoothly. I know you suffer because of it. But what can you do better? After all, it is also my blood and flesh. Having said this, he hesitated, then fell silent. Mr. Hai told his brother about strange things that had happened a long time ago. Mr. Tam sat and listened for a while and then gave his younger brother some advice. Whatever you want to do, you must know the source thoroughly. I heard many scary things about the boy, but I still doubted him. Many times I was about to speak, but I was afraid he would be sad. There were only two brothers. He was always out in the fields, so he didn't know about the housework. If you want to know Little's activities, you have to sneak around to understand. After saying that, the old man quickly went into the house, took out a chicken with its feet tied, and gave it to Mr. Hai. Your face is so pale. Bring this chicken home and cook green bean porridge to eat. I can only help you like this. Mr. Hai was only halfway home when it started to rain. It's raining so hard, thunder and lightning crisscrossed the horizon. The road became slippery in the blinding light of the sky's fire. Arriving at the house, Mr. Hai quickly put the chicken in the coop, then immediately went to the field. If not, all the seedlings will float away. He thought so he ran faster and faster. About 10 steps away from the field, Mr. Hai suddenly stopped. It wasn't that he was exhausted. He just didn't want to continue when he remembered his brother's words. We have to sneak up and watch. See what the little guy does every time he goes to the fields. The back door appeared dimly in the rain and lightning. The dog Kai did not run out happily like usual. I wonder which neighbor's dog he ran after. The door he made to prevent the foxes from reaching the chicken coop was only 10 steps away when Mr. Hai heard the chicken screaming. It's those damn foxes again. Mr. Hai grabbed the tree, pushed the door, and rushed in. The door with its hinges rotated with a creaking sound, and before his eyes appeared the devilish silk strip of that night. The only difference is that it is very long and turns blood red in the flashing light. As soon as I heard the noise, the silk strip rushed towards the front house very quickly.
In just a moment he was gone missing. Mr. Hai looked into the chicken coop and only saw a bunch of red feathers lying there. Walking quickly to the bed, he saw the boy's face as if he was sleeping. But the strange thing was that the corner of his mouth had a little blood on its teeth.